And hello, folks, and welcome to Off the Cuff Paranormal with myself, Daryl, and
Myself.
and
You
I, I
get
just
your
gotta
own
go
show.
turn on the light, folks. I'll be right back. It's really dark over here. So,
I'm all alone
oh, I know you
in a
lost
van,
me.
all alone in a box on a screen. Oh, I'm not alone.
I have a
I thought I
box
was
on the
alone.
screen. Um,
I thought I was all alone.
Folks, I know Karen. Nice to see you, Amy. I do have an update, but for a lot of people that have been following certain situations. So I want to go back to something, and me and Mike discussed this. And well, it's been one heck of a couple of days, hasn't it, Mike?
Yeah, it's been a tough day. Well, tough 2 days really, but I
Yeah.
guess yeah.
So, folks, what we're talking about, and if you're not in BC, you may or may not know, but there's a lot, and I mean a great deal of fires burning in forest fires burning in BC. And they're all over the place from Williams, Yellowknife up in the Northwest Territories, which has been basically completely evacuated, to Kelowna, BC. Um, Now, we have friends up there. Our sister team, Faculty X Investigation, Kay Thornton, Faculty X, and some of her team members and stuff are in Kelowna. And to give you guys just a little bit of an idea here, um, that's what it looked like earlier, like last night. Um, what can you say? That's the West Bank, West Kelowna. Um, yeah. Anyway, the fire is huge. It's over 6,000 hectares now. It's spread over into basically East Kelowna. It's jumped the Okanagan Lake. There's been structures lost, and our good friend Kay and some of her other friends have had to evacuate. Kay just left, and she just actually told me now that they are at the Peachland House and safe, which is good news for us. I'm really happy about that. That gives my heart a little rest. Mike, you got a bunch of friends up there, haven't you?
I got friends, I got family, I got aunt and uncle, I got a cousin. I'm trying to remember all the friends I have that are there. I mean, I've two now that have been, well, I guess three that have been evacuated out of town. So yeah, it's a bit scary. You know what people think what we do is scary? No, no. What those people are having to deal with is scary.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And if you're out there, you're listening, guys, or you listen to this later on tonight, whatever the case may be, um, send your well wishes, and if you can offer assistance, do so. But don't go up there. Don't travel up there unless you're a first responder. Just don't. There's there people. Yeah, they need every bit of help that they can get. There's thousands of people, so steer clear of the area unless you can help in some other way. And yeah, a big heartfelt out to everybody. We wish you well up there, and may the fire skip by as much as possible, and you all are able to return to hopefully a semblance of a town that's left when this is all said and done. So
and kudos to those firefighters too. I mean, they're the true superheroes right now.
yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. Uh, but yeah, so yeah, exactly. So, folks, if we seem a little subdued tonight, this is part of the reason why we spent all day going back and forth, talking to people, keeping track of people, trying to find out what's going on and everything. So, if we seem a little off, we apologize, but we're doing our best here. Um, but tonight, Mike, um, I guess over the last days, we've had quite a few signs of different things, haven't we?
What do you mean exactly? Signs? Are you meaning like signs on the side of the road, or are you meaning signs to the afterlife?
Well, It depends. It could be a sign on the side of the road that says "Welcome to the afterlife."
Oh God, could you imagine?
You have just entered the afterlife. Oh,
You know,
hello,
like
thespians.
when you're
They
going
have
down the highway in Abbotsford, you see all those billboards along the side of the highway, and one of them just said "Welcome to the afterlife." I'd be like, I think I missed my exit.
I was going to say, where did I just end up? Like, holy jeez. I mean, it makes you wonder, right? But yeah, well, actually, yeah, we are talking about signs. I mean, and signs. I guess it can be tied to the paranormal, spiritual, religious. I mean, there are a lot of signs out there, and over our time in the field, I mean, and even outside of the field, we have. Excuse me. Got to hide for that. Nope. Here, hang on. I got to go this way. I was leaning toward Mike. That's a
No, that was
sign. It's a sign of gas. Let me tell you. um, but different signs, and these signs can consist of a lot of different things that people have experienced. I mean, when I started reading, I was amazed at the amount of things out there that people consider a connection to the spiritual side of things.
yeah.
So,
There's a lot. There is a lot.
just off the top of your head, what seems to like what has been the most prevalent, I guess, for you, Mike, that you've heard a lot of?
For me personally, more like well, there's a few, and they're on my list, but music is a big one for me. Like hearing a song that really had a special meaning to someone, and whenever you hear the song just out of the blue, mostly when you need to hear that song, it comes on. Like, in my case, my dad had a very favorite song of his, and you know, when you're in a situation where you're just feeling down or feeling like just the world's against you, and all of a sudden this song comes on, it's like, okay, I got it. You're here. Like I hear what you're saying to me. Like,
Yeah, I've had something similar to that. I mean, I can't say songs have always been, a big thing for me, but I understand what you're saying for sure. You just
yeah,
get that right song at that right time, and it gets you. For me, I think it's more, looking at something and just happening to see something that you've been, you might have been looking for a while, and
yeah,
you just can't find it, and then one day you just turn around, it's just there,
yeah,
and you're like, thank you. you know, it's interesting. Um, I, I guess, like, I mean, I guess you put together a list, so did I.
mhm.
Um, One of the things I think I noticed on the list, and I guess it's one of the more prevalent out there, are numbers.
Yeah.
You know,
And I knew you were going to say numbers, so I left that one off my list on purpose.
you knew I was going to say numbers.
I
Did you?
did. It was like, it's funny because like I have like, without divulging, like I have, and by the way, everyone probably noticed right now, it's not my usual background behind me. I am in a new part of my house tonight, so I don't have a computer in front of me. So I actually had to handwrite my notes.
Oh dear,
Right?
I've really messed up my. Well, guys, if I freeze it all, please let me know, because Mike said I have frozen once or twice, and then I
Yeah,
now
now it's very
know
cold.
I know I now know it might be my internet that's a problem, so I'm going to have to check on that.
It's very
So
cold on this side over here. It's like
if you
I
see
might
me
need to
going,
put a sweater on or something.
and suddenly, like one minute I'm here, and the next minute I'm like over here. Yeah, that's a freezing thing. Uh,
But yes, I do have a list. I'm not going to share it with you. It's a secret list. Um,
you better hide the mirror behind you then.
it's not a mirror. It's
It made you look though.
a picture of my family.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, maybe it's a sign.
Oh, that was priceless.
Do I
Oh
need
my
to?
Lord.
Here.
You move the
No.
camera a little bit. There you go.
Uh-oh. Did I
Um,
freeze? Did you freeze?
you froze. Yes, you froze.
Oh, I better not move then. I'm not going to touch my phone. I'm leaving it where it is.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what's going on. Maybe if I touch my phone, it might freeze a bit. I don't know. I don't know. I think my phone is falling down though. Oops, it is falling down too. Everything's moving. Ah, okay, hang on.
It's a sign. It's a sign.
Everything's just a sign. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Numbers. Now,
Sign
did you
sealed and
know?
delivered. You're mine.
Did you know though that there are actually angel numbers? I'm not kidding you. They call them angel numbers.
Angel numbers, like
Um,
you mean like those three numbers that belong to the other
wh-
side? Is that angel number?
not just well, actually, 666 is not what you think it is.
No, it's actually 333.
Yeah, they have 777, 444, 1111, 111, singles, doubles, triples, quadruples. They all mean something. They have a lot of underlying numbers that are just minor numbers, and then if you get two, like 72, you add it up, or 7 and 2 is 10. So that's your prime number. What you're looking at. Each number represents something, right? 1111 doesn't really break down. 1111 is 1111. And I know somebody that used to look at license plates a lot and seeing numbers in license plates, but I'm thinking there's a lot of numbers in license plates, right? So I don't know. There's a lot to this stuff. Like, let me just read a little something for you. Have you ever looked at a clock at 333 and then soon after ordered an item at a fast food restaurant, the total was 333? All right, done something like that. Have you ever seen your birthday or the birthday of someone special to you come up in various places? For example, your deceased mother's birthday was March 14th. Do you see the number combination 314 coming up for certain times, etc. Stuff like that, right? There is a couple of different things that I just want to read you really quickly about numbers. Which numbers or sequence are important? Okay. Now, this is, of course, one person's interpretation of this. Not all of them have an importance, but there are stuff that are repeating, like 1111, 44, 555, 777, etc., etc. Ascending or descending numbers and sequences 1, 2, 3, 7, 6, 5. Significant numbers 3, 2, 9 if your birthday is March 29th, etc., etc. Then they get into the whole tie to the angels, because there's always a tie to the angels supposedly on the various sequences of numbers. And a lot of them are all in sets of threes: 111, 222, 333, 444, 555, 666, all that kind of stuff. If you see them, like you wake up in the morning, you're looking at your clock, it says 1111 or 111, and then you look at it once, it's 111. You look at it again, it's 311. You look at it again, it's like 1111, that kind of thing. Is it a coincidence, or is it a spiritual entity trying to get communication, right? So they come up with two theories besides numbers. First one is specific meanings. This theory, each number and number sequence is believed to have a unique spiritual meaning. The meanings are determined by each author in consultation with their guides. There are books and websites that provide interpretations of these numbers. Some people love this approach and use it very effectively. A certain psychic friend of this person used to use this method with license plates. When driving, she would ask her guides a question and then notice the numbers on the first plate that her eyes focused on. She would then look up the number in a book that provided interpretations. However, some people find this approach confusing because they consult many different sources and finding conflict interpretations. For example, I just did a Google search for the meaning of the number 387. One source said it represents a sign of wisdom, but another site said it's telling you to live your life to the fullest. So what do numbers really mean? The numerology side of it, that's a belief that numbers and number sequences can be interpreted using numerology. Keep in mind that in order to use this approach, you do need an understanding of numerology. The meaning of single digits, the meaning of a master numbers. I mentioned those earlier. Although there are many different numerological approaches, there are two of the most common. One approach is to reduce any number sequence down to either a single digit or a master number. The interpretation of the number sequence is based on the meaning of the single digit or the master number. For example, if you have been repeatedly seeing the number sequence 520, then you would reduce it to a single digit by adding the individual numbers 5 plus 2 plus 0 equals 7. The 7 being the numerology, 7 in the numerology represents spiritual energy and often is a message to withdraw or contemplation. Often those using this approach do not reduce the master numbers of 11 or 22 or 33, and sometimes even 44, 55. For example, if you etc. For example, if you keep seeing the number 470, you would add the following numbers: 4 plus 7 plus 0 equals 11. The master number would be 11. To reduce down further, it would not be reduced down further to 1 plus 1 equals 2. You just don't do that. Not on the double digits like that. Another approach is to look at numbers that repeat: 444, 888, regardless of the number of times the number is repeated. The interpretation is based on the meaning of the individual number, i.e. 2, for example. Because the number 5 in numerology often represents change, then repeatedly noticing a clock at 5:55 might mean that you are currently going through or about to go through a change of some kind. With this approach, some people believe that the number of repetitions can add emphasis to the 55 number. The bigger the number, the more digits you see, the bigger and the more important the change. So it's kind of interesting. And of course, the last theory is getting a spirit that's actually showing you something that's relevant to you, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a certain number, something in your life that's typical, something that you're going through that ties back to a number, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So there's 3 different categories, kind of the way people look at numbers and numerology. I mean, I've seen numbers. I've had the experience where numbers kind of semi show up and mean something, et cetera, et cetera. But are they relevant? I don't know. I'm not a numerologist. So do you really have to be a numerologist to think about this or not? I don't know. Now that means
no, because I mean, I think everybody has some sort of, I don't want to call it belief, but they think about it. I think everyone does to an extent. Like you see lots of people that say like, oh, 1111, make a wish, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not because they follow numerology. It's something that they've either been told by someone or whatever. It's just something that kind of gets thrown out there. It's not something to do with numerology. I mean, I myself have heard that before, and I don't make a wish or anything like that. I just know about the saying, right? So, mm-hmm. And I'm not into numerology. I know that there are those that are, and they're very much into it. But no, I wouldn't say you have to be into it to think about it. No.
Well, Karen just said numbers 1111 for her, and Gord is 911. Well, I'm not sure what Gord did wrong, Karen, but 911. Yeah. 7s and 444s. Amy came up with, I have angel numbers in my phone as reference, as I always see 333 or 111 or 555. Right? Mm-hmm. Ken just likes the kid. So, what did I happen to do? Oops. Okay. No, what the heck did I do?
I don't know. Uh-oh.
No, Ken did something and I hid comments somehow. Oh, there we go.
I see Karen's comment.
No, I accidentally hid comments because Ken wrote.
Oh, okay. Ken, funny about that. So many years ago now, for me, I had a cell phone, and this was in the early days of a cell phone. I'm sure they were probably prone to weird things happening to them. But I had a cell phone where the number 6 would constantly press without me pressing it. So I would just be hold it in my hand, flat in my hand, and it would go 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. I'm not kidding you. I had friends that saw it happening in my hand, and they're like, "Dude, what is with you?" So maybe me and Ken have something in common.
It could be. Holly posts.
Numerologist. What? Glynis?
Glynis? I'm not even sure how to say that,
I don't
Holly.
know, but I think I'm going to conjure up something if I say that name.
Oh, she has done charts for me. I love some books and CDs of hers. Okay,
Oh,
cool,
okay. All right.
cool. Karen also wrote.
Yes, yes. So here's a crazy true story. I hated turning 37. I had no idea why. It bothered me. Fast forward to March 7th, 2017. I get diagnosed with breast cancer. March is 3rd month, 7th day, 37. Wow.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
weird.
And you know what, Karen? I mean, I believe a lot of people, I don't want to call it numerology, but I think a lot of people take the numbers that they see in everyday life and become almost superstitious about certain things. Now, I know superstition is another whole tangent on that you can go on, but um, there's just certain things that kind of, you don't feel good about. Like it's almost like an unlucky number, if you will. And why you don't know, like I have no reason to not like a certain number. There's nothing about it, but you've obviously made a connection to that number and it makes sense for you. It may be a total coincidence, but then again, it may not be, right? So who
Yeah,
knows?
true. Oh, and by the way, Holly said it's pronounced Glyn, Glins-ISS, Glynis.
Oh, all
So
right.
that's her name. So we have numbers, and I mean, I've had the experience, and I understand why people very much consider them important in signs to some people. What are some of the other signs, Mike? You said you had a list.
Oh, I got a list. Dude, I got a list. Okay. So,
Did you have a number on your list?
oh no, I have no numbers on here.
Oh dear,
See,
you didn't
I
have.
totally skipped the number thing. That's just
Well, I'm
weird.
just wondering if it adds up to a particular number.
Nope.
Well, it's
um,
like Ken just said.
could it be like buying a new car? All of a sudden, you see your car, your make and model. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, it could be like that. Yeah.
If you like that. Okay, well, what's on your list?
Okay, a feeling. And
A feeling.
what I mean by that is like a feeling like you're not alone. Sitting in a room and you're not alone. I mean, we can all relate to that, I think.
Yeah.
Um, when you get goosebumps for no reason, like there's no cold drafts or anything like that. All of a sudden, you just get like that chill right up your spine.
Hmm.
Some people think that is a sign of communication from the afterlife.
Yeah.
Or again, a cold chill, right? So any kind of those things, like an actual physical feeling or a mental feeling, just something you can't explain. Like you feel like I'm not alone here. And I think as paranormal investigators, we all kind of have experienced that at one time or another, whether we think it's something that's paranormal in nature or we just got goosebumps for no reason whatsoever. Who knows? But that's the first one on my list. Have you ever had anything like that? I'm sure you have.
Yeah. Just once or twice. Not that often. I think we all get feelings like that. I mean, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether it's like paranormal or whether it's just yourself reaching a point where it's kind of like it's just what happens. Like, I mean, you're in a dark room, you're doing an investigation, you're aware of maybe a story.
Yeah,
Is it self-induced?
it's possible. I think it could be possible. Yeah, yeah.
But then again,
If you're in a notoriously like it's got so much story to go back like years and years and years and years, and you're in a room all by yourself, I think your mind can totally go to places where you are almost manifesting something to happen. And I don't mean something actually does happen. It's your mind plays tricks on you, and all of a sudden you get like goosebumps and a shiver up your spine, like, oh, like I'm not alone, right?
Well, I remember, and a good example of this is I remember being at a place. Now, folks, I'm not allowed to tell you where. Mostly everybody on this page knows, but I can't tell you where. But there was a point where we were supposed to be sleeping in a specific museum. And I wasn't doing well because I had just recovered from a stay in the hospital, so I didn't end up staying. But I was standing down in this museum all by myself because the other fellow that came down with me left, and he went up to get some information. So I'm standing by the door, and because of the story of what supposedly strolled in the back hallways, which was animalistic, let's just say, I wouldn't leave the door. I just couldn't get myself to back out. Now, was that something, legitimately keeping me near the door, or was that just me, because I had the shivers, I had that, like, something's there, I had that feeling, right? So I don't know if it was self-induced or not, but there was no bloody way I was going to step away from that door.
Yeah, I had something very similar to me. I don't know if it's the same location. I don't think so, but it was a bathroom that I could not enter in a large location, and I just kind of stood in the doorway, and other people went in, and they're like, "Yeah, it's fine," and I'm like, "Not for me, it ain't," and I'm not going in there.
Yeah. So
And
was it self-induced or not? We don't really know, right?
yeah,
But it was
it's
a feeling.
we could not prove, right? We can't get someone else to feel when we have goosebumps, right? We
Yeah.
can't go, "Oh, feel this. I got goosebumps." No, you have goosebumps. I don't have goosebumps. Like, you can't share it.
Well, you never know.
Okay,
Actually,
if there's a group of people and everybody gets goosebumps at the same time, that would be cool. But then I'd be like, "Hey, is there a draft in here? Like, what gives?"
Well, Ken said the setting you put yourself in can form the narrative.
Mhm.
I had to read that about 4 times to actually catch that. But you
Like I
know,
said, I understand Ken.
yeah, I do understand, Ken. It's just my mind was not clicking into that right away. What about
Yes. What about those?
dimes?
Yeah.
Dimes, pennies, quarters, nickels, money, basically. Some people consider it, and I know Karen had said it earlier.
Yeah.
Some people consider it a sign that they've cleaned their house, everything's good, everything's great. They sit down and there's a dime on the counter, and they're like, "Well, wait a minute, where'd the dime come from?" I mean, if nobody else is home, you have to think, where's the dime come from,
Yeah.
right? Which kind of has me wondering a little bit and I hate to jump back an actual show, but it almost has me wondering about
Going back in
time
time.
slips, because what happens if you actually put the dime there 30 seconds before? You see what I'm saying? Time slip. But I digress. That was a show last week or 2 weeks ago. But that's another rabbit hole, folks. We've been down that rabbit hole. We might go back down it again. You never know. But I know Amy's like, I know that. I don't know. I can't say I've ever experienced money being a sign of a spiritual connection. I know others have.
I
I
can
know
for 100% certainty.
you can.
Yes, because it's very recent for me.
All
For
right.
for those of you that don't know, my mother-in-law passed away 2 months ago, and still very fresh. But um, she you always used dimes to scratch her lottery tickets. And after her passing, since then, the past 2 months, we have found countless dimes, and not just in our house, out and about. Walk into my car. There's one outside my car door. Go into a Walmart. There's one on the floor in Walmart. Like, It's just and dimes, just dimes. No other denomination, just dimes.
And just feel this is just a connection to her saying, "Hey, I'm good."
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I'm here with you. It's all good. Like don't you worry.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
And we all believe it. Like everyone in the house. We all kind of go. Even this most random thing. Like my sister-in-law was away for work over on the island, and she sent us a text message. She's like, "You're not going to believe what I just found when I was in Safeway." And she sent us a photo of a dime. I mean, yeah, there's it could be coincidence. You're in a store, there's money in a store, you're gonna find money, right? I mean, it just happens. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
there's just random places where it's showing up where you would not expect it, right?
well, Amy just wrote this, and it's not dimes though.
I can't say money, but days after my aunt died, my shoes. Oh, Amy, I know this story. My shoes and the shoes of my mom and dad were found in odd locations around the house, pointed in different directions and sometimes stacked. I have pics. That's why I remember this, Amy. I remember you going, "What the actual f?" Because you couldn't explain it, and you were trying to get us to figure it out. We couldn't explain it. It was just that's bizarre, and I think it's actually very cool at the same time. It's something that I would be, because me, I'm like on the fence. Like once in a while, I'm like on this side of the believing, and then all of a sudden I kind of waver back this way, and I'm kind of going like this. Well, if I
You're a
saw
weevil
that, I'd
wobble.
be like, here's the believing side. I'd be like, woo.
I gotta admit, I have not really experienced that kind of thing yet.
Mhm.
Um, at least not that I know of. Like, I mean, when my old man passed, I mean, the best thing he could do was roll in. I was half asleep, roll into my bedroom in a closed casket, pop out of the casket and go, "I'm going on vacation," and disappearing. I'm like, what? Like, that's the best. What? Like, really? Was did I just dream that or what? I'm like, oh my God. Okay, you know what? Dad, just give me dimes. I mean, I'm good with that. I don't want to go through that again. Oh dear, dear, dear. I'll tell you. Um,
But it doesn't have to only be, like Amy just said, it doesn't only have to be dimes or even shoes. It could be something like a feather.
and you know what? I was just gonna go there. Um, Amazingly enough, but not okay. Okay. Well, we'll go back with feathers first. So, where are you going with this feather thing?
Well, some people believe that a feather is a sign from the spiritual side. Now, what they're trying to communicate, who knows? I mean, that's open for debate. But a lot of people believe that they see a feather, they kind of go, "Oh, like a feather, it's a sign from the afterlife. It's my great grandma sending me a message," right?
Mm-hmm.
Just last weekend, you and I were at a place in the Fraser Valley and walking to the car, and there's a feather outside the car, right? And we were both kind of like, we kind of laughed it off, but then you also moved it so he wouldn't drive over it.
Well, I kind of picked it up and tossed it off to the side, which I'm kind of thinking now, should I really have picked that up and tossed it off to the side?
Right?
Because well, I've looked at it and there's all kinds of different feathers. I mean, you can get a goose feather. I mean, I can go to a park and pick up a goose down feather anytime I
Yeah,
want. I
yeah.
mean, but I mean, dove feathers. I know my dad, I think, had before he passed, he was actually seeing or encountering dove feathers. I'm not sure. I haven't looked up the significance of the dove feather yet, but he was seeing some dove feathers.
Hmm.
Um, One of the biggest ones, I think, are eagle feathers.
Yes.
And although they actually tell you not to pick them up because scientists can actually use them to tell the health of current eagles and stuff in the area,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You actually should turn them in. I'm
I
like,
didn't
well,
know that, but that makes sense.
where the heck would I turn in an eagle feather?
I wouldn't know either.
So they say just leave them. I'm like, okay. I mean, I used to,
Oh
find a
yeah,
big
because they're
eagle.
huge, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they used to be that big.
But I mean, like you find like a crow feather or a seagull feather, you're like, ew, gross. You don't want those ones. But you see an eagle feather, and you're like, that's cool.
Yeah, or a raven. Even a raven is kind of cool.
Ravens, because they're so big, right?
But did you know the eagle feather has a lot tied to it?
Well, because the eagle does.
Well, well,
It just
not
makes
just the
sense.
not the fact just the eagle is tied to it, but the symbolize the all like there's like I mean I'm not going to read through them all, but I've got like seven apparently according to this seven amazing symbols of the eagle feather.
Hey, it doesn't seven mean something in numerology too?
Um, yes, it does. I just don't know what seven means. I think it's good luck or something like that. Um, there's lots of things to do with the eagle feathers, spiritual and wisdom, uh, bravery, a symbol of great focus, uh, being basically the whole winning drive stuff, um, symbol of prosperity, token of encouragement, spiritual connection. And then it gets into a whole side of things that is tied back to the natives as far as their connections to the eagle feather, and we well know that they use them in their headdresses and everything else. So there's a whole tie back to them that well, I just don't have the time to read here, but it's a lot. I was reading
Yeah,
through it, and like I
we
spent
could.
a half hour reading through it, and never finished it.
I know we could do a whole show on First Nations spiritual, signs and symbols. That would be
Yeah.
very extensive.
But the funny thing is, and this I have to. I don't know if it was the eagle feather or the person themselves. We were at a place up in the interior there, and there was a native person involved, and he did a cleansing on a whole group of us
Mhm.
outside. Myself was there. I think Holly and Ken were there. There was about five of us or six of us up there, and he did it outside. And he was chanting while he was doing the cleansing with the eagle feather and the sage and stuff and smoke. And we all heard drumming, drumming and chanting from a distance.
Very
Yet there
cool.
was none taking place anywhere. And
Was
we
it
all, yet
captured on audio?
we all, no, that's the thing. None of us had our audio on us.
Ah,
One of us should have, but we never did. But we
yeah,
all heard it, all of us. And we went, what the heck is that?
yeah.
And we went and looked. There's nobody there. No one.
Hmm.
So where the heck did it come from? That was absolutely bizarre. Never forget it. So to
You
say
guys
that
goes back to the music, right? So you
it,
did experience a music thing.
I did experience some form of music thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Ken's like, forgot about that. Yeah, I never forgot about that. Yeah, Karen was there too. It was, yeah, yeah, it was
And
weird.
it's funny because something like that has stuck with you all this time, right? Like
Yep.
it obviously affected you profoundly in a deep way where you are going to always remember it.
It did. It blew me away. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just one of those things that you just think, well, it's impossible, but no, the impossible happened.
Yeah.
So it was a sign. So yeah, I guess yeah, it was a sign, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of cool now that I think about it. But yeah, it was
And
really, really cool.
it's more than an AVP. It is something that, well, it's also an AVP, but it's both that and a sign, right? Like it's a musical sign where you hear music. I mean, I've heard singing. I think we've all kind of heard. I think most of us have heard some form of singing in an EVP.
Yeah.
But again, it's tied back to the music sign too, right? I think when we sometimes people we play music on our investigations, right? And that we try to get a reaction from whoever may be there, and then you do get a reaction back from it. So again, is that a sign from our side to them?
Well,
Reversing.
well, it's like us playing, one of us playing Al Jolson music down in the overflow morgue of the Vancouver Police Museum.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and Holly was sitting next to a device, and that device triggered off.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
whatever the music was caused whatever was there to react to it,
Yeah. So
which was really cool.
just like we get signs pointed to us as a form of communication, it's almost like we're doing the same thing back.
I like Amy. Amy says, I have so many singing and musical EVPs, I can almost do a mashup.
Why does that surprise me, Abe?
I look forward to hearing that, Amy. I look forward to hearing
And Amy,
that.
they're probably all Disney, right?
Oh, it's oh dear. Oh dear.
Um, I got another one for you. How about this? Electricity as a sign.
I actually saw that, but I never had time to read that one. But it did bring up a very Amy goes, ha ha ha, gospel. That
Yeah.
brings up, yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, in what way?
So again, I have personal experience with this sort of sign, if you will. So it's like lights turning off or on you. It's alarms going off. It's if I could read my own writing, TVs turning on or off on you for no reason. Radios, or even just electrical interferences where you get like something interfering with your electrical in some way. And
Like we've never had that happen.
right. But if it's a sign of the paranormal, then that might explain a lot.
Well, I mean, it is out there that, it is a belief that, if it's an energy source, they can tap into it. So,
Exactly. Like I was once staying at the Hume Hotel in Nelson. This was, I think, the first time I ever stayed there, and I was told it had supposedly been haunted. So, of course, me being into the paranormal, but not a paranormal investigator yet, I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. I want to stay in a haunted hotel, right? So, I'm there for work, and I have my tablet with me, and I put it on the nightstand while I decided to watch a movie. Well, all of a sudden, my tablet turns on by itself. I had powered it off. It turns on by itself and started playing Angry Birds. I have no explanation why that particular game, but I'm telling the truth 100% because I had a coworker that was in the room watching the movie with me, and she saw it happen too.
Angry Birds.
Angry Birds.
Well, I know it's a
So,
fun game and all, but
well, I know. And so just to prove that it was not me like screwing around with my iPad, I turned it off completely and it rebooted, turned on again, and went back to Angry Birds again. So it
now
happened.
here's another one. And I know. Oh, hang on a second. Ken said at the Bernie Lake. Oh, sorry. At a theater we were all at. I probably give that one away anyway. All equipment drained at the same time in one room, and he's absolutely right. Everything went dead simultaneously, right across the board. I don't know how many of them were sitting in a circle and just went, boom, gone, dead.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, it did
I've not
happen.
experienced that. I've experienced power drains on certain things like a camera or whatever, like one thing at a time, but not everything all at once.
Yep. Well, I've seen it happen, and it's a really weird. Everybody's like, "I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead." What the heck?
That would be crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely
And
weird.
did something like paranormal actually happen afterwards? Like, did you get
Not,
exploded BP, or did you like see
not that, not,
manifestation?
not that we. I don't think not that we remember. I don't think so. I mean, we probably gotten stuff there, but I mean, you've
Well,
been in that room, but
yes.
I don't think at that point in time, I don't know if we ever got anything like that, but it can definitely happen. It's weird. I got another one. Knocks. I mean, we write them off all the time, but every time you ask any one of the guys in MPI or anybody we've done investigation for, if they haven't heard bump bump, if they haven't heard me do that, I mean, Ken said, add an investigation in a multifamily building in New West. TV came on showing porn. Porn.
Has this location been investigated more than once?
we go back monthly. No,
Yeah, approximately 69 times.
oh, terrible, Mike. We're gonna slap you for that one. Oh my! I think I know where Ken's talking about too. Though I don't know if we ever came to the conclusion whether there was a timer on the TV. Oh, I remember that, Ken. I remember it now. But I thought there was I thought there was a timer or something like that. We were questioning the timer, but they were adamant there was no timer on the TV. But I don't know. It's because TVs can go to sleep and then you wiggle something and they wake up, right? But
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't know if that was the case. She said it was off. But yeah, it did come on. Yeah. Well, anyway, you know what was being watched.
I've never had that happen. I've had a light turn on.
Chickawawa, chickawawa. Oh, I remember it, Ollie. I remember it.
Oh my god.
I remember it. Oh dear. Oh man, I'll tell you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Ken. I needed that laugh though. Thank you. Oh,
but you would be surprised that place did have activity in it. I don't know if that particular unit did, but I think we experienced
yeah,
it.
that activity, all right.
Just when you think we couldn't go any lower, folks.
Shall we move on to the next one?
Thanks, Ken. Oh dear. Okay, on to the next one, Mike.
Smells.
Huh?
Smells. Phantom smells.
Oh, smells. I thought you were talking. I thought you said mills. I'm like, mills. What the mill? What the hell does milling have to do with
What's with
anything?
you, Mike? Hey,
Smells. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
smells.
hey, that looked a little nosy to me.
So okay, so it's I get the tears out of my eyes from laughing. A familiar scent to you that you associate with that person that comes out of nowhere for no reason whatsoever. So if your grandmother wore a certain perfume and all of a sudden you smell that perfume while you're driving down the road at 100 kilometers an hour, or if you're in a house investigating and porn turns on and you start to smell cigarettes.
I'm sorry, Mike. I'm just picturing. I just had running through my head the phantom fart that happened at investigation.
So much for the somber tone of this show.
Ooh, that smell. Oh my guys, I'm sorry.
What was that?
Oh dear.
Oh my god.
Okay.
All right.
But no, you are right. Phantom smells. Let's just hope they're all good, dude. Let's just hope they're all good.
Try to keep it on the rails here.
Excuse me.
Get on your own side. No, get on your own side.
Well, I didn't want to blow my nose in the middle of the camera, you know. Oh my god. Oh. But you're right. Phantom smells, perfumes. I have smelt that.
Whoever smelt it dealt it.
I wasn't gonna go there, Mike. Thank you for kindly. Oh god.
I'm so mature.
Oh god. I hope it's just not us two laughing up the storm here because
Oh no, I can picture. I can speak for Amy for sure. She's probably spit her drink out about 3 times by now.
Oh god. But no, we had down in actually the same place that Ken was just mentioning. I think it was Nikki was smelling flowers. I don't actually remember what kind of flowers, but she was smelling flowers. Nobody else, just her. Um, we've smelled perfumes, or what we thought were perfumes. I think we've. I don't know. Has anybody? I honestly, well, I can't ask. 'Cause, I mean, but I don't know if we've ever smelled food. I don't know.
Oh, Amy has.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, she has.
You're right. She has. She has.
She was smelling ham.
Amy says, "Laugh my beeping ass off." I am gut laughing. My husband asked what was so funny, then I had to explain it.
Yeah, Amy smelled ham, and you were thinking about ham, if I'm not mistaken. Were you not?
um, I think so.
I think that's how it went.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
And then she smelled ham. Now, I know for a fact there was no ham cooking.
There was nothing cooking, although we were in the vicinity of a kitchen.
That is true.
So
Now, could there have been ham cooking earlier in the day? But you'd think it'd smell that pretty damn good.
and would it just, yeah, you would think it would, like, because ham is one of those smells that it lingers a little bit, but not like if you walked in there from being outside all day or in other locations all day, and all of a sudden you walked into this room, you think you'd smell it right off the hop, not 20, 30 minutes after being in that room.
No, that's true. And we were in there for quite a while when she smelled that.
Exactly.
That was interesting. Paul, Thespians too. Holly just said, I strongly smelled my sister's perfume after she passed. So there is that. I have heard that many times from a lot of people. Perfumes, colognes, right? I honestly, I don't know how you took that. I mean, for me, I would take that as a sign that, hey, I'm good. I'm good to go. I'm here. I just want to say hi, type of thing.
Yeah.
That's the way I pick that kind of stuff. On investigations, though, I think smells can vary, but I don't think I've ever had anything rotten. Like some people smell, they say they smell brimstone.
Like sulfur?
Yeah, sulfur, brimstone, stuff like that. And they, of course, in technical terms, that's supposed to, that people tie that back to who, right? Hell and yeah.
I'm not the Easter Bunny, by the way.
The devil of an Easter bunny. There you go. Kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit. Amy goes, I had a perfume experience 2 nights ago. I had a horrible dream. And as I was laying in bed trying to sleep, I smelled green tea hand lotion. It was so pleasant and calming I could go back to sleep. So what would be the reason why that particular smell would calm me down, Amy?
Yeah,
that would be my question.
I'm just wondering if a family member.
That's what I'm wondering. Or is it just something that's always calmed you down? I mean, that's still an interesting smell to get, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think I've ever smelled anything really bad other than maybe garbage at an investigation. I mean, I don't think I've ever smelled any bad smells, but
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless somebody, deliberately creates that bad smell, ate something bad.
There was one investigation I was on, and the guy that I was with, him and I both smelled like sewage. And we were both kind of like, well, that does not smell good. And then at the very the next minute, we saw like what appeared to be like a shadow all of a sudden darken the room. And both of us, being big guys, were kind of like, what the actual F was that? And then we heard what sounded like a growl. We were out of there. And we later found out it was just the sewage, it's an old building, and the sewer plumbing was backing up and it was making these gurgling sounds. But but it didn't explain the shadow at all. So I'm kind of like, hey, there's more going on there, but something was going on with the sewage, and that's what I mean. Like when there's a smell, it's not always what you think it could be, right? There might be an explanation too. So.
Well, Holly wrote, remember we didn't invest at our house. I had been smelling cigarette smoke. You asked if it was my father. Response recorded, man's voice, don't blame me.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool. I forgot about that.
That's cool when there's a smell and then an EVP,
Yeah,
right? That's pretty cool because that's kind of like a smoking gun almost.
almost.
If
It's kind of
especially
cool
something like
though.
that, like you smell
But
something that smells like a fart, and then you hear it get an EVP saying that wasn't me.
but then again, if you hear something like that and it wasn't him, then who was it?
Patrick.
That's cool. Patrick. Amy said it was a smell of
Sorry,
cologne.
Patrick.
It was smell of Calagon green tea. I haven't smelled in like 15 years. It didn't last long, but it was really nice. I sat up and tried to figure out the source, but I let it go and fell back asleep. Well, at least that's a pleasant way to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Signs, and many more signs. There's so many. Gord
Oh, I
just
have
said,
more that we can't even touch on because we're almost out of time.
that's right. Gord said, ghost farts. Yeah, well, there is that. Never smelt a ghost fart. Heard it. Never smelt it. Of course, then again, it just means I didn't dealt it.
Yeah,
Felt it. Feel it.
when you're in a room of paranormal investigators, the room is dark, and you smell a fart, not one of those people is going to own up to it. I guarantee you. Not one of them. It doesn't matter who it is. You're not going to own up to it.
Oh, we had it happen when Steve was in the room. We're all looking, Steve, and Steve's like, nah, it wasn't me.
Yeah, because like if I'm in a room with like, it's me and it's Bev and it's Amy and we smell something like that, I'm not owning up to it. I'm telling you right now.
You have enough to deal with the pickle tickle, Mike. We're not going to go with the ghost
Oh
farts.
God, the pickle tickle always comes back.
So
Honestly.
I mean, just really quickly, what was left on your list?
Dreams,
Yep.
being communicated through your dreams. Animals, seeing animals that were, had a significant meaning to someone that has passed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Type of animal or whatever. And then last but not least is actually seeing an apparition.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good way of communicating. If you want to communicate, show yourself.
That's kind of what my dad did. Yep. I agree with that. I like the animal thing too, because I mean, honestly, I think that's really a kind of a cool thing to know, especially when it's been said that sometimes, spirits can inhabit different things. Maybe they can inhabit that animal and make it appear.
Yeah.
Polly Road thing was he had been a long time smoker and had to quit for just a couple of years before he passed. So yes, don't blame me. Amy goes, we need a part 2 of this topic.
Well, we can, yeah. I mean, I got lots of notes about dreams and animals and apparitions, and you know what? I think there's actually more out there.
Oh yeah.
It's a fun subject to think about because we do see and hear so many things as we do this, and it's kind of like, is that a sign? Is that not a sign? Whatever,
Well,
right? So,
you know what we should do, Mike, because we're pretty well out of time. We're just running slightly over here. We'll put this out on the Facebook and see who wants to add in some ideas, and we'll come back in a couple of weeks and talk about it again.
sounds like a good plan to me.
How's that?
Yeah.
I can do that. I think we can do that. We can both do that. I'll be here and
I'm over here.
that guy.
Get it right.
All right, guys. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope we got you all to laugh. We certainly did. And it's been a lot of fun coming back and doing this again. It's been a while. We will be back in a couple of weeks because now we got something that we're aiming to follow up on. So stay tuned for more laughs and who knows what rabbit hole we're going to go down to in a couple of weeks. Thank you all for joining us. And once again, please send your well wishes to everybody up in Kelowna and dealing with the fires all across BC. And wish them all well. So for myself, Daryl, and
Mike.
Mike, I want to wish you all a great night. Have a good one, and we'll see you again soon. Good night.
Smell you later.